everyone. Good to see so many of you here. And welcome to our Cloudflare session. And my name is Matilda. I'm the area VP for Northern Europe here at Cloudflare. And I have a few colleagues with me here, Ella and Madeleine at the back. We wanted to tell you a bit about Cloudflare today. And I wanted to just jump up before I will leave over to Ella to actually do the deep dive into the developer platform. But Cloudflare is not yet the mainstream household name that everyone is aware about. So I wanted to take the opportunity to just tell you a little bit about who Cloudflare is and what we are doing in the region. And I got a nice slide to keep me company. So Cloudflare is a connectivity cloud. And saying it's connectivity cloud, it's quite a broad topic, right? And I typically like to divide it into 3 legs. So we have one leg, which is where we have grown up as a company, and we've spent a lot of time in application security. So securing public-facing applications with our CDN network, with our DDoS, with our web application firewall. That's home for us, and that's where we've been very successful. A few years back, we started to expand that platform into network security and was commonly known as SASE. In our platform, we call it Cloudflare One. And this is where I come from. I have a background in networking, so I've been building MPLS networks, shifting them to SD-WAN, building this nice overlay with global telcos. And when Cloudflare came knocking on that door, I saw what we in telco had been trying to do for so many years. Since SD-WAN was introduced, we've been trying to build that overlay, and Cloudflare came and showed that Cloudflare is that overlay. And the big difference is, if you look to a traditional network, it's built with routers and switches that can read IP traffic. What Cloudflare has done is built a network completely built out of servers. And it's not a virtualized software running on a VM somewhere. It's cloud-native software that is completely integrated, which makes it possible for us to deliver every single product on every single server on every single POP globally. And now we have, I don't know if it's shown here, but we have roughly 330 POPs globally. That is a number that is growing month over month, and the ambition is that we will be everywhere, and we own our own infrastructure. And why do we build all of these POPs? Yeah, the reason is because if we are going to move our infrastructure to the cloud, which is where I believe we need to make the investment to really reap what we have sown in the cloud and discontinue investing all of this physical on-prem hardware, we need to be really fast. So we need to be as close to the request as possible. So back to where we come from with our roots in application security and CDN, speeding up websites and all of that, we take that with us when we go into user security in our network piece, but we also bring it with us into our developer platform. So being as close as possible to the request means if you're an AI company, for example, you have 2 challenges, learning and inference. So you figured out how to build your models, how to teach them and train them, and now you launch them, and you need to figure out how to increase the performance of your application. That's where a network like ours come in. So we are a mission-driven company. Our focus is to build a better internet, a more resilient internet, and a faster internet. And that is our main focus in everything that we do. So the story goes along all of our product lines, and I really enjoy the company and the rate of innovation that lives in this company that we have. And not long ago, we didn't really exist in the Nordics. So I joined the company in August 2023 as the second person in the Nordics. And before that, we did exist here, but we were supported reactively from London and from Amsterdam. And if you want to be serious in a market, you need to be here, and you need to be proactively working with all the business here. So I came on board, we started building. We ended last year with 15 employees. We are now approaching 25 employees in Sweden, so we are growing. We are one of those hyper-growth companies. And that's a fun space to be in, but it's also a challenging space to be in. And that's also what took me here today, because what I find is one of the key challenges in a hyper-growth organization is that if you are not paying attention and really investing time into what good looks like, you take the first thing that comes across you. And that's not always female applicants. And that's so frustrating because I'm speaking to so many like you every day when I meet with customers, when I meet with partners, but I don't see these applications coming in when applying. I have Madeline, my superstar recruiter, that is chasing all of you on LinkedIn, trying to get you to apply. But I see that we need to change, I think, the fundamentals, how we bring female into tech. So if you look at how a role description is written today, it's almost like a firewall spec. You need to have done this, you need to have this functionality, this support agreement. And then we get a CV from that, which is also a feature spec. I've done this, my lights are on, I have a power supply. It doesn't really tell me who you are, and it's not until the first call, when you've gone through the filter, all the buzz, and we have our first conversation, that I can understand who is the person on the other side. And for me, it's not important that you can configure a firewall or that you even know how a firewall really works. For me, it's important what trait you have as a person. Do you have tenacity? Do you have curiosity? I think curiosity is the key trait that I'm looking for in any recruitment. So I could basically put a role description, you need to be curious, then please apply. So, I don't know, that's a good question. Maybe we should do that, Madeline. No, I think that's something that we need to start thinking differently, how we recruit people. But I also believe that we need to change how we onboard people. How do we keep people in the organization? That's also something that I'm thinking of every day, is how do I make people in my organization successful working at Cloudflare? And as a rule number one, anyone should be able to work at Cloudflare, regardless if you have small kids or you have any other things in your life that is your life. That should not be a hinder for you to work at Cloudflare. I have a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. Working at Cloudflare is a secondary priority in my life. So we need to build a work-life balance or a culture or whatever that makes it work for everyone. And if you come on board, it's not enough that we give you a laptop and a login to our learning portal. We need to really think about how do we enable you to be successful in your role. So an example of what we do quite a lot is team learnings. So every Wednesday, so today between noon and 1, all of us in this forum is for the sales team. We meet for an hour and we do training together. So we do pitching together, we do whiteboarding sessions together, we try and fail in front of each other. We coach each other, we give each other feedback. So the ceiling, there is no ceiling. There is just this safe space to practice and learn together, because we want to bring our A game when we go to our customers. I often talk about athletics. If you want to go to the Olympics, it's not enough to tell you where it is and give you a ticket there. We actually need to train you to be able to perform when you get to the Olympics. So for me, it's all about people. I'm building a people-first culture, caring about the people that are in my organization, and then they will also care about the people in our customers' organization, because we can have the best tech in the world. It's worth nothing unless the customer has a need for us. So building really that value together. So that's in short who we are, what we do, and I will hand over to Ella to tell you a bit more about our developer platform.
Thank you. Hi everyone, thank you for coming. So I'm Ella. I've been at Cloudflare for 4.5 years. This is my 3rd role at Cloudflare, so that's my recruitment advertisement. If there's a lot of growth and career growth you can have at Cloudflare, come join us. But I'm here to talk about our developer platform, which is the most exciting from my perspective. It's my job to talk about it, so It's good that I think it's the most exciting thing. But I think it's the most exciting new part of what we're doing here at Cloudflare, enabling customers to build full stack applications on top of Cloudflare's infrastructure, which is so exciting. So why is this? Why did we start doing this? Why is this important to us? Developer velocity, we were doing a research with Slash Data Survey, and apparently only 50% of the time developers spend at work is on writing code, which is crazy because that is what they're hired to do, and that's what they do best. When developers are writing code, that's where you get the increased speed to market, the increased innovation, you get, better software. The more coding is being done, the better your product is going to be. And that's something that they get really bogged down in a lot of different infrastructure and bottlenecking. They spend too much time on tasks that aren't writing code. We're not enabling them to do their job in the best way possible. So this is something that we were thinking about when we started building our serverless offering. Now, serverless was supposed to solve all these problems, right? That was the plan. So it went from everything being on boxes and then in the cloud, but in the cloud it was on containers and Kubernetes clusters. I speak with a lot of developers and I often hear bad words said about Kubernetes specifically. So we've taken a different approach to what serverless code can look like in a way that enables the developer to build whatever they like, however they like, and as close to their user as physically possible. Now, the platform that we're building is consistently innovating. So if you look, this is our crazy timeline from when we were founded back in the beginnings of the 2010s. And we started developing a lot of our Layer 7 products, which all relate to, CDN and DDoS protection and that wonderful web application firewall that Matilda was talking about. And then in 2018, we released our developer platform, which is serverless code as close to your users as possible. And we've been iterating on that ever since. This is something that we're really passionate about, and we've had a lot of really exciting developments. Even recently, 2 weeks ago, we had our developer week where a ton of announcements were made. It was honestly overwhelming, but very exciting to see. There's a whole lot we're doing in the AI space, and I'll go into a little bit deeper. But a platform that is constantly innovating to make the best experience for developers to build is what we're trying to achieve, essentially. So our goals for developers is to remove friction, make sure that they know how to use things and that it's quick and that it's easy for them to deploy, and that it makes the most sense for them to reach for when they're looking to build something. Providing the primitives to build cool and interesting stuff. Who wants to manage statefulness with infrastructure? No one. So doing things that can take that complexity out of their hands and make it so that they have the ability to deal with those really complex coding problems in a way that's really nice and easy and exciting to them as well to build with. Enterprise-grade solutions and scale, making sure that it is the best quality for not only the hobbyists, which is me. I have a very silly little website that I built on Cloudflare, to our really large enterprises. We have some fantastic enterprise customers who are building on Workers here in the Nordics. None that are case studyable, but hopefully soon we can convince them, fingers crossed. And then enabling new workloads with AI, now that that's in the space, finding different ways which we can include it and make sure that it's easy to run and you're not just dealing with a bunch of H100s and you're doing something that actually feels scalable and relevant. So this is what we're building on. This is our network. Knowing our infrastructure team, this slide, I think it's about a month old, is probably already outdated. They're constantly having new points of presence so that we can make good on our claim to deploy to region Earth. We're trying to deploy everywhere in the world, make it as fast as possible to scale, taking that complexity away from the developers themselves having to deal with latency and just making it very easy. So this is the network we've been building for 13 plus years, and the things that we're building on top of it are what I find the most exciting. So this is our connectivity cloud. We're trying to encompass sort of 3 different things with it in terms of connecting you and your customers, and you and essentially the world, protecting, making sure that you're not getting attacked, and making sure that when you are attacked, you have some resilient infrastructure that can back you up and help in those cases. And then building, making sure that you have the ability to build what you want to build in a way that is accessible globally and also safe. So this is our kind of thesis statement of Cloudflare. And then deploying to Region F. With the click of a button, you can deploy your application globally. I'd recommend checking out, if you can create a Cloudflare account very quickly, you can deploy just a Hello World worker to the whole world, and it takes about a second to do it. It's also free. It's very fun to try, especially one of our colleagues, his daughter's starting to code and is using Cloudflare workers and she started the whole Hello World thing. So it's the next generation. Maybe next year they'll be able to come to the conference. So being able to build and deploy really quickly is really fantastic. Also being able to roll back really quickly if something goes wrong or if something is deployed and it's not exactly what you needed it to be, being able to roll back really fast is really great on Cloudflare as well. So this is kind of the reference architecture to how we view a full stack application on Cloudflare. So you have the initial security piece, as well as deploying code straight to the internet with pages, which is essentially just deploying a static page, and then workers if you want a more interactive code, and then workers AI as well, where you can use Cloudflare serverless GPU to run different open source AI models. And then again, having storage on the cloud, storage as close to your customer as possible so that they don't experience that latency when they're looking for information to be returned to them. And then again, dealing with the observability, with logs, and being able to push that to any data provider, analytics provider of your preference, and then sending that to your customer, making sure that they have the best experience on your website, that it's fast, that it's responsive, and that it's global. So we're here to support the full software development lifecycle. We deal with the local deployment, the whole Wrangler API side of things, and then also the testing point. You have different iterations that you can view of the same code. If you need to roll back something, it's quick and easy to do that. And then the full deployment and observability process, making sure that you know how many people are visiting your website and what that looks like, and who is looking at your site and what you're doing. Sorry, I'm just going to take a sip of water. A lot of talking. And then making sure that that is going and you can see and understand what is happening with your site, any changes, any updates. As you push them, you have that visibility as well. We have a bunch of developers who know and trust us and really love what we're building. We have 100+ hours of time saved using Cloudflare workers with Delivery Hero. We have, with Caliente, $1,000 plus saved with our object storage platform. This is because we don't charge for egress fees. This is something we really believe in because we have bandwidth alliances with a lot of different bandwidth providers. So egress is not something that we are charged. And so we don't really believe in deferring that to the customer. It's a bit of a moral standpoint for us, and we're really proud of it and really proud to be able to offer it. There's a bunch of really interesting customers. We actually have a website full of stories from very small startups to fully fledged enterprise companies on our platform. They're called, if you search Cloudflare Built With, there's a whole litany of stories of people doing really cool and exciting things with Cloudflare. I definitely recommend checking it out. What makes us different? So we have a very different developer experience. There's not really trade-offs because we were a security and performance company first. You're not really experiencing any trade-offs when it comes to security and performance. It's our bread and butter. You don't need to choose, again, cost and scalability also comes built in because it's pay as you use. So as you grow, it's very predictable. If you experience a spike, your servers aren't going to shut off. So making sure that if you do have that rapid growth, you have the infrastructure behind you to support it. And a lot of time saving. A lot of time saving because it's very easy to deploy, easy to roll back. We're making sure customers have a really good time coding and that they can, spend most of their time doing it, hopefully increasing that 50% number. The performance is built in as well. We have 0 cold starts, so the, isolate versus container architecture really eliminates cold starts completely. And then deploying from region Earth means that you're within 50 milliseconds of around 95% of the interconnected global population. I think 300 milliseconds is the amount of time it takes you to blink. So just for context on that stat. And then infinitely scalable. Our pricing is very flexible and pay as you use. So you have that ability to scale without feeling limited by capacity or any, limits set on the platform. You have that scalability and that flexibility. So if there is overnight, you go viral, you have that support and you don't need to be like, oh God, what's happening? You have that support from Cloudflare and that scalability. And then additionally, 0 egress fee. Storage is fantastic. We pricing based on CPU, so you don't need to worry about those excessive costs as you're scaling. And there's 2 million developers building on us. It's very exciting. So the core components of the platform: compute to power your full stack application. So you can use your favorite front end framework, whichever you like to use. I know Next.js is a really popular one. We also have Hono.dev, which is a fantastic framework to use, actually built by one of our developers, designed to be super lightweight and fast, especially for Cloudflare workers. It's fantastic. I definitely recommend checking it out. And then you can add different primitives to your code and how it's working. There's, message queuing to limit load on systems. You can do specific workflows to iterate different steps at different times. So giving you full flexibility on how you want to build out your application. And then we have a whole bunch of different storage capabilities, essentially, all quite different and quite exciting in terms of the use cases. So we have D1, which is your run-of-the-mill SQL database. Super fast, very responsive, and consistently growing. We're consistently iterating on it. Durable objects, this is the one that tends to be the most popular with customers. So durable objects are strongly consistent storage from a single data center close to the end user, and it's essentially great for building stateful applications. So we manage the state, and you can build the chat room, the whiteboarding site. We have people doing all sorts of crazy things with durable objects. It's fantastic to see, and so hopefully I see you guys building some cool stuff next. Hyperdrive, making sure your database can be globally distributed and then connecting directly from workers. KV storage, so for those key value pairs, having that quick and consistent accessibility to that information. And then R2, which is S3 compatible object storage. So anything. We have, your classic data dump. There's all sorts that's being stored in R2, and having that without egress fees, so you don't have to worry about, if you're doing compute in the same place, or if you want to do storage on Cloudflare and compute elsewhere, you can also do that. There's not that vendor lock-in, and there's not that requirement that you see often where egress fees are being charged. You can create immersive multimedia experiences. We have the ability to deliver live video and on-demand video with our own player that is streamed globally and very, very fast. And then additionally, you can have images and image transformation in a single pipeline. So you have that ability to make your site as rich and as mediaful as you'd like. And then additionally, real-time video and audio applications. This one is really exciting with WebRTC protocols and making sure that the data is traveling as fast as possible. So really being able to build rich sites, full stack on Cloudflare. And then there's the AI impact. What is Cloudflare currently doing in the AI space? So we're working on helping build AI applications and protecting and defending them. So we have products called AI Gateway, which gives you the ability to rate limit, cache, have full observability on an AI application, as well as full fallback. So when you want to play around with different models, when you want to, not rack up a massive bill with caching and rate limiting, you have that capability and that control over what you're doing. Additionally, building on Cloudflare with serverless GPU, so you have the ability to not just have a couple H100s, you can have a full scalable solution that when, your Studio Ghibli image generator pops off, you can have that scalability without being worried that people are not going to be able to have their dog as a Studio Ghibli character. So the different elements, making sure that you have places to store and fine-tune your AI applications. So we have a vector database that is incredibly fast. So if you wanted to store additional information and build a full RAG application, you can do that. We actually, in the last 2 weeks, launched an auto RAG service, which is essentially a front end for a couple of our different products, where you can fully just build an augmented AI application with your own information, and it's very, press and play for those of you who don't want to really dive into the machine learning operations of the AI space, making it more accessible and easy to use, and so that you have that ability and that without having to fully, train an LLM, for example. So we have that process. You can store your training data in R2 if that's the route that you're taking, and have that egress-free position, and then using Cloudflare to infer with Workers AI and with the vectorized database. Finally, having that visibility into it with AI Gateway so that you can see what people are doing and rate limit in that sense. And then finally, to secure things, so to protect and defend it with Cloudflare Zero Trust and with API security, so making sure that people aren't going to abuse your API on this. So this is kind of the depth of our solution when it comes to the AI space, and we're super excited to be doing a whole host of new things. We're consistently adding new models, and I definitely recommend checking out our YouTube channel. Our fantastic DevRel team constantly post with the new Agents SDK piece. They're consistently posting content that is super valuable and really great run-throughs on how to use Cloudflare to do the newest and greatest thing with AI. And they're also a fantastic team to work with, very, very enthusiastic people who make learning fun. So finally from me, I can share a bunch of these resources that we have, and if you have any other questions around any of these resources, please let me know. We have a fantastic Discord with over 80,000 people in it, and this is a great resource if you're starting out with the developer platform, because there's always going to be someone who knows the answer to your question. And a lot of our very senior product people are also in the Discord and love replying to things. They love it when people have feedback on their products. They love it when people want to talk to them. It's thrilling. And there's a ton of, we have a YouTube channel as well that I definitely recommend checking out. And if you want to go back a little bit in our blog history, we have all of our Developer Week information that is on there, which is all of our newest and most exciting releases. So I think my favorite personally was the Auto RAG, where you can build a full RAG AI, agentic AI solution very, very easily. So I definitely recommend checking that out. But aside from that, thank you for your time, and it was lovely speaking with you. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, very cool, everything. I'm just wondering, what do you have initiatives for you think about in terms of sustainability? Because I'm just guessing you are, because you're enabling a lot of companies to just share, everything, not share, but to do work more efficient. So
Yeah, absolutely. We have internally SGs, so it's called green flare. All of our internal ESGs just have green flare on the end. And so we have internal ESGs. We also have a full ESG team who works in doing the sustainability reports. There's also a way you can select things to specifically be done in a green mode as well. So there's, we do have that capacity as well. And I know a lot of companies do choose it automatically. So we do have those capabilities as well, yeah. Any other questions?
I have one question. Nowadays we are dealing with an ecosystem that there are lots of non-techie people, non-dev people who started to building, let's say, the first version of MVP or products, having it out. So part of it is like, all of these, tools that can help you build the product. But I think that one of the pieces that people miss to see is that, a lot around security and all those concepts and how having an infrastructure that's you need. Have you considered trying to filling that gap and step in and helping these new generation of product builders, I would say?
Yeah, a lot of people are building those new generation products on Cloudflare workers. I know I myself, my background is not in coding, so I have done a little bit of vibe coding on Cursor Classic. And you can deploy it directly onto Cloudflare workers, and then again layer on top of that the web application firewall, the DDoS protection. All that is baked into kind of everything we do. It was the first thing we did, and it's kind of underlaid all of our products here at Cloudflare. Any other questions?
So one question, I just saw that you had Microsoft, you had AWS. I think they have their own platform and network. And how does Cloudflare support them? Because they themselves are pretty huge.
Yeah.
Application deployment or their own infrastructure and stuff. So how do they become your partner, and what difference does it make?
For sure. So we have bandwidth alliances with a lot of the big, internet providers and networks globally. So those are a lot of where our interlinks with those different companies have. But also we have people who are using different storage that is not our storage, but also layering Cloudflare security on top of that, but maybe necessarily deploying in different clouds. We're so pro multi-cloud. It's such an exciting thing to have. And that having that flexibility in those different clouds and perspectives is really important. So a lot of what we build is designed to be used in a multi-cloud sense. So I think you can really see that in our storage product with no egress fees. So if you did want to store in Cloudflare but egress to somewhere else, you don't get essentially like a charge for that. So we have really, really great relationships with a lot of the other networks and ISPs globally.
I've always thought of Cloudflare in the context of like security, CDN, or edge security.
Yeah.
And now I come to know that there's also a development platform, so that's new. I'm mostly thinking about stateful workloads. So for databases, I saw you recommend D1. It's like an SQLite alternative, I think. I'm wondering how you handle like high write workloads, and if there is a lag between edge
Yeah.
workloads, how do you handle that?
Yeah. So for stateful any stateful applications, we actually recommend durable objects. So these are localized little essentially storage containers that are storage and compute together. So they're also associated with closer to a location, and they spin up when you need them and they spin back down when you don't need them. And so you can have different, durable object to durable object communication to add speed and prevent that latency. And then being built on Cloudflare's network can also really help when it comes to the latency and when it comes to things that are, essentially real-time applications, both the network and also durable objects. I would definitely recommend checking those out. Any other questions? If not, thank you so much for your time. Please, yeah.
I want before we let you go, I just wanted to say one more thing. So on May 22nd, we have rented the Winter Garden at Grand Hotel. So we will have our own Cloudflare Immerse at Grand Hotel. And this year we will actually do a complete developer breakout. So we will have one main stage where we will have speakers from IKEA, VP of Technology at Eriksson will come and speak about their journey with Cloudflare, but also their own vision for where they're taking their organizations. And we will have a sidetrack there for developer focus, where you will also get hands-on on our platform to learn how to test to build an AI application on our platform. So I highly recommend coming to this event and learning more about Cloudflare.
Yeah.
Thank you for today.
Come chat with us if you want to hear anything else. Thank you for your time.